Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We're going to re-evaluate the PRS Silver Sky SE, the stone blue color. I bought this guitar several months ago. Well, it's probably been 6 months at the very least. And I want to kind of go over the re-evaluation. The purpose of it is, when I first got the guitar, John Mayer's a huge influence in my life, if you haven't noticed already. When I first got the guitar, I didn't want my preconceived ideas of me liking John Mayer, therefore anything with his name on it is automatically better than whatever. That new feeling of getting a new guitar, I didn't want that to be a factor. So I've had it. I did initial review. You can go through my YouTube channel and see a full review. That is there. You can see me demoing the Silver Sky next to a Mexican Strat. You can see multiple videos on the Silver Sky. Most of my shorts, if not all of my shorts, feature me with this guitar. It is my favorite guitar. So let's get right into the reevaluation. All hype aside, it's kind of calmed down a bit. Is this a great guitar? And yes, it is a great guitar. You do get the vintage feel and the vintage sound of a Strat inside the modern look of the PRS, Strat style guitar. And I think a lot of people were turned off when John Mayer did this, not because it's so much PRS doing a Strat style guitar. I think PRS has had Strat style guitars on the outside of the PRS Silver Sky. But I think people were more mad at Mayer just for the sake of it seemed more like a money grab, and PRS could cash in on John Mayer's name type thing. And I don't get into all that. All that's kind of fruitless debate of it just leads nowhere. At the end of the day, PRS and John Mayer they teamed up and they made a great product, and that's all that really matters. All the politics of it doesn't really matter. Let me grab a pick here. It doesn't really matter to me, to be honest with you. If the musician is good and he has a signature line and the guitar feels good, it plays good, and it looks good, and things like that, and it's not cheap and it doesn't look cheap, and then why not pick one up? It's a guitar. You're not pledging allegiance to a person and their character when you play their guitar necessarily. You just want a good instrument. And so my basic thoughts on this is my favorite guitar that I own. I have a couple Strats, a Telecaster and an acoustic, and then I have this bad boy, and I don't regret buying it. I've been playing guitar for a while now, and so having a guitar that may have cost me after tax $920 after tax, I don't think is that big of a deal. And I play it all the time. I put the wear and tear through it, and so yeah. Is it worth picking up? I will say this: the Silver Sky, if you have the extra funds, if you have the extra money to spend, but you don't want to necessarily buy the core model, it's a great guitar to pick up. I'm not going to drop $2 to $3 grand on the core model when I can get similar sounds with a guitar for a third of the price. To me, that's just the smarter way of doing it. It sounds pretty close, to the core model, and that's just the fact of it. I mean, you can get into all the specs of the different neck radiuses and things like that if you're into that, but the Silver Sky SE feels great, it plays great, it looks great, it looks like a Silver Sky, sounds like a Silver Sky. And I think most people, if you blindfold them, they might be able to tell a slight difference. I think the core model might be brighter, slightly brighter, but get an EQ pedal. Get an EQ pedal for like $30-40. And so those are my thoughts. If you don't necessarily have the funds, if it's a guitar that you've always wanted, and it's a guitar that you just don't see yourself being able to purchase because you're limited on finances, or you may be starting out on guitar and your parents have to buy you stuff, and if you're younger, or maybe you're an adult and hey, life happens, you gotta pay your bills, and that's more important than purchasing a guitar. In that case, Squier has an excellent line. The Squier Classic Vibe Stratocasters are some of the most well-made, great sounding, vintage feeling guitars. Squire really knocked it out of the park, and it's half the price of the Silver Sky SE. You might spend after tax $500 on a brand new classic vibe Stratocaster, and they also have Telecasters, they have Jazzmasters, and they have a whole bunch. That's worth looking into if you don't necessarily have the funds to drop almost $1,000 on a guitar. You can get a classic vibe that sounds just as good as the SE for half the price, and that's also, the truth of the matter is you can do that, and I recommend doing that. My Telecaster is a classic vibe, butterscotch blonde, and I love it. Feels great, plays great, sounds great, and I don't regret buying that at all. In fact, both the classic vibes and the SEs, I believe, are both made in Indonesia. I don't know if the Strats and the classic vibe are made of poplar, but the SE is made out of poplar. It's, I guess, a more inexpensive wood. There's things in the SE that drive the cost down, of course, So my overall thoughts, though, is it's a great guitar, all hype aside, aside from the new guitar feeling and being excited that you got a new guitar and a new amp or whatever. It really is a great guitar. It's the only guitar I own that once I sit down with it, it's kind of like, it feels like home. My hand on the neck is just, it's perfect for me. And it may not be perfect for everybody else, and that's fine, everyone's different. But for me, it's perfect, and you have to, figure that out for yourself. Before I bought this, I waited and waited and waited, and finally Sam Ash had this guitar in a color I didn't want, but they had the guitar, and I sat down with it for a good 15-20 minutes, and for me it was just an instant thing. I fell in love with it. So but yeah, I really like the modern look. The tone and volume knobs, don't say tone and volume, it's kind of more of a sleek uniform look. I like the flat 5-way switch. I like that it looks like a Strat, because I've always been a Strat player, so it feels right at home body wise. But it's got the nice PRS cutaway here. The tune keys, people complain about the tune keys because it's kind of the grayish, kind of plasticky looking tune keys, but honestly, if you're like really doing work on this thing, like Incredible Hulk, like trying to tune your guitar, I think those complaints are just, I don't know how valid those complaints are. I've had this guitar now for a while and never had an issue gripping the tune key, never had an issue tuning it or anything like that. In fact, it's kind of better because I can grip the tuner more, especially with sweaty fingers. But yeah, it comes with a back plate. The core model does not. The core model's built without the back plate, so you don't even get screw holes, I don't think, in the core model. So even if you pop this off, you know how you get the screw holes here with the cavity. The core model, I believe, is seamless with the springs exposed. And then you get the little SE plate that has John Mayer model with the PRS signature. Or I'm sorry, with John Mayer's signature. Paul Reed Smith's signature is on the headstock there. And I just banged my guitar on my chair, but it's all good because it adds character.